A package in the mail, MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail, those shoot 'em ups, and that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here with a little package in the mail. Already taken off the outer wrappings. It's just a little follow-up. I've been, I suppose I searched for some Atari 2600 games before, and more pop up in your feed when you do that. But a seller was selling a few odds and ends, and there were a couple that I liked. So they're all bid ones. Nothing too spectacular, but there's a couple here that I've been after for a little while, so right. They're not in perfect condition, but they're not too bad for old games. So the first one is not the best game on the Atari 2600 by any stretch of the imagination, but it's Superman. I don't have any screenshots to show you. It's one of those games that, I mean, it's alright. I have played it. Here you go. The cartridge is one of the earlier style ones as well. So it's not like some of the later Atari 2600 games that use the machine better. And it's almost like, in a similar way to E.T., that it was rushed out to probably fill a license or anything like that. I don't actually ever remember seeing a box for one though, so that's not too bad. We probably need a box protector to hold it in shape, I reckon. No manual by the looks of it. So flipping systems, because this is a mixed system lot, we have for the Atari 8-bits, we have Super Breakout. I believe I have Breakout, but not Super Breakout. The Atari 8-bits. This is one of the original release lineup of games. So similar to the earlier East 2600 games. Once again, the box. It's seen some better days, but with a bit of massaging, it'll be good. And of course, we have a left cartridge. Super Breakout. I don't have that many boxes for Atari 8-bit games. So that was the thing that attracted me to the seller, was actually that one. So I don't get to see that many Atari 8-bit games. Now the next one, and yes, it's amazing, I do not have a copy of this game. My friend who I got most of the original part of my Atari 2600 collection off did have a copy of this game, because I remember playing it at his place, but I would say that he didn't like it and he swapped it with somebody else at some stage. And it is none other than E.T. And I thought, well, why not? It wasn't very expensive, and it's got its box. So once again, really going to need a box protector to hold it together. It's a bit more squashed than some of the others. And the cartridge is in really good condition. It's pretty weird how you've got to flip them up completely the other way. And we actually do have the manual too, so it is complete. Now I do remember playing this back in the day, and it can be a very frustrating game because the collision detection is a little off. I mean, what else do we expect, considering how quickly the game was put together and the pressures the program was under? I'll put that back together later when I can give the box some more due care. So that's our next one, and one more. And I've never played this game. I'm not sure whether it's a platformer or just an action game, and it's Asterix, so it's a little bit later release, so you're into the silver boxes. And we do actually have a screenshot on the back there. In a way that's reminiscent a little bit of Jawbreaker in that screenshot. As I said, I've never played this one, so I do not know how the game plays. Cartridge is in decent condition, top labels there. And we have a manual. Oops, which I'm showing to you upside down. So, some nice Atari 2600 games added to the collection. So, without further ado, we should go and and an Atari 8-bit game. Let's go give those a go. Right, so here we go with E.T. for the Atari 2600. Now, you do have to put into context that the poor guy wrote this game in 6 weeks, and normally a program back then would take 6 months to make. So he was really pushing it. He reused a lot of his code from one of his other projects. And there is sort of the basis of a game. So every time you move, you lose time. There are multiple screens. I haven't actually played it for such a long time, I can't remember. Oops. And you fall into holes. And then you use some of your energy to get out. Oh, and you've got to watch out for the ranger guy. Seem to be looping around screens at the moment. So that was actually something we needed to pick up. Oops. Oh, but down here we found one of the items. So you actually do need to fall down the holes. I've played this for such a long time. Still not sure of the correlation of how the screens fit together. I just know you're not allowed to be caught by the... And that's the collision detection everybody complains about. I mean, I was nowhere near that hole. Which could get quite frustrating. It's got a lot going on. I mean, the whole idea is you have to find the various parts of E.T.'s device to signal his friends. Oh, I'm stuck in one of those falling in hole loops. Rapidly running out of energy here. And here we go again. And these are the sort of endless stuck in hole bugs. Unfortunately, there are a few games in there. Just didn't have enough time to debug the game. No, I am stuck in this hole. So I'm not going to do a complete playthrough of this game because it is possible if you know exactly what you're doing and what you need to collect and things. I haven't played it for years, so this is more a completeness in my collection thing and to give you a little bit of a taste. So let's try our next game. Okay, here we go, Superman. I think we might fall capture to my capture card not doing the colour properly because this is possibly an NTSC title and I'm using my Atari 1700, so I do apologise. Okay, so you can be Clark Kent. I need to change back to Superman to fly. I'll change back in. I haven't played this for such a long time. I mean, there's a lot of interlinked screens. Oh, I just fly. Okay. Whoops. I really can't remember what you're supposed to do. Flickering and carrying on. There we go, I carried this to somewhere. Once again, I haven't played this game for a long time. So that went through that. Pick that up. Carry that. Can't seem to hurt him. Colour screen. There is actually like a map that wraps around. We seem to have exited again. I'm not sure if you can beat up the guys. pick up the guys in the arena. We're supposed to take this to the bridge. It's very finicky. There we go. So now my guy can actually walk across the bridge. I think that's what's supposed to do. It's this in here. Does that help us out? Ooh. Oh, that's kryptonite. I think that hurts. Alright, did I do anything then? No, I don't know. See, it really helps if you read instructions, and I don't think you guys are getting a very good picture by my capture. It's all in black and white. Quite an early Atari 2600 games by any stretch of the imagination. That was probably trying to do a bit too much for the programming at the time. And yeah, I apologise about the black and white. Let's try our next game. Okay, here we go with Asterix. I've switched over to my Coleco and expansion module 1. In other words, Atari adapter. And we have colour. Right, so it's a pretty simple game. You have to try and collect the pots and avoid the loots, I suppose they are. Very sensitive controls. And sorry, the sound output is a little dampened on the Coleco with things, unfortunately. So once you collect enough of one type, it goes to the next level, things get a bit faster. So there we go, I've moved up to the next level. It gets faster. Very sensitive controls. See if I can get up to the next level. Not a lot of replayability in the game. Something you'd probably get fairly sick of reasonably quickly, but it's an interesting one nonetheless. Oops, and I've never played this one before. Oops, as I said, very sensitive controls. Oh, here we go, gone up another level. Oops. Oh. There you go, got an extra Asterix. So really, there's not a lot of game from their source material, really. You know, they could have done some sort of platformer or something like that, but I suppose it's a lot harder to do. 2600? Well. Caps getting a lot harder to pick now. But I mean, you compare something like Jawbreaker. It's a lot more actual game. I mean, this is just simply moving the joystick. All right, that's all our Atari 2600 games. Apologise for Superman being in black and white, but. Take it from me, it's not really, that fantasy games are not really worth replaying. Alright, let's try our Atari 8-bit game.
Right, here we go with Super Breakout. It actually has quite a few modes. If you press option, you can go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players, which is of course possible because you get 2 players per paddle, because 2 players per port, and there were 4 ports on the original 400 and 800. I'm using an 800 XL, so it's only got 2 ports, so I could only probably do 4 players. You can also play a couple of different games. You've got Breakout, Progressive, Double, not sure what that one's about, Cavity, and then back to Breakout. So we'll just try normal Breakout for a little bit. Now, not in my headphones, I'm just recording the sound from the game from the speakers, because for some reason the capture on this machine, even though I can hear it coming through the headphones, doesn't record. So, just so you can get some sound, even though it's very minor, you might get a little bit of echo. So it's good old Breakout, obviously not perfect in the collision detection there, and we're just getting 1 point for each one we're getting rid of. I haven't actually played the Atari 8-bit original Breakout for a while. I think you get more points for the next layer by the looks of it. So at the end of the day, you know, pretty simple game, bit of fun. And with the different game modes, give you a bit of variety. I'll switch to one of those now. Progressive. Just adjust a setting here to get rid of the echo. And get going. Yeah, so you get 3 points for purple. So it's based on the colour. Ooh, that's lucky. Lucky the collision detection is a little off. Saved my bacon. Ah, okay, now this explains the progressive. So it's going to keep on coming down and getting closer to us. So you've only got a limited amount of time to try and break through. Perhaps even based on the number of blocks you get rid of. I'm not sure if it's time based. A bit harder to change the angle of the ball. Trying to get it to go sort of back in that same spot. Whoops. Oh. See if we can break it through one of the middle sections there. Oh. There we go. We're through to the next layer now. So Breakout games were all the rage at one stage. In the early days they were very simple. It's actually interesting that they came back in a big way when Arkanoid came along, that just added those extra bits and pieces that made it a little bit more fun. Presses 2 players. Oh, sorry. Just the wrong button. Double. I have no idea what double's going to be. Let's have a quick look. Oh, I see. Double bat. And 2 balls. Okay. That requires a bit more skill. I've lost the ball already. Okay, that's not bad. We'll keep going. Now, cavity. So obviously when we open up the cavities, we get another couple of balls playing. Alright, I'll leave it at that. So, not the most groundbreaking game for the Atari 8-bits. It's a very early game in its history that harkened to the arcade games that were around at the time. But it's quite well done on the system, obviously a lot more colourful than the Atari 2600 game version of the games, a little bit more detail. Good to also break out the paddles and see that they're working good. Alright, I hope you've enjoyed this little Atari 2600 and Atari 8-bit pick up and play. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.